How do they do that? Have you ever seen a pop star perform a killer song that's belty and kinda high and pretty hard and wondered how did they do that? They probably used a technique called belting or mixing. The voice is divided into a few ranges or registers. The chest register is the lowest one and is loosely the place that's activated when we speak in a mid to low range of our voice. You can feel some pretty noticeable vibrations if you place your hand on your chest and then speak in this mid to low range. Ah. The vibrations are a good sign we're squarely in that chest register. The top register is the head voice for feminine voices or falsetto for masculine voices. It's generally lighter and airier sounding than the chest register. In between these two ranges is a more narrow range that is a transition or break between the upper and lower registers. This transition area is called the passaggio. It's an Italian word meaning passageway, and it tends to be a little shaky and in need of strengthening and developing. I could talk all day about how registers interact, but what you need to know is that belting is a technique that uses the chest mechanism and musculature through the passaggio and some of the upper range notes. It's common that singers use belting in ballads or songs that use very little voice altering effects in the mixing process. In a second, I'm going to explain the differences between how pure chest voice, pure head voice, and belting sounds. But I just want to point out two important things. Number one, where these specific registers start and end will differ from person to person. An alto may be in chest voice at an F3 on the piano, whereas a tenor might be in the middle of their voice in their range at that note. So every voice type might approach the same pitch differently. I'll link a chart showing the approximate ranges of each singing voice type in the description box below. And number two, the start and end point of these registers may change slightly for a person, depending on a few factors, which include age, vocal training, if you're sick, etc. So back to the difference between a full belt and a mix. I'm going to perform this on Na, on an E3. Here's a pure head voice. Na. Now here's a full belt on E3. Warning, this might be a little loud. Na. Now here's the mix on that same E3. Na. Can you hear the difference? I'm going to demonstrate the difference between pure head voice and the mix one more time. Na versus na. Here are some of the main differences between how a full chest belt and a mix feel to me. The full chest belt feels very yelly. Like if I do it too much or for too long, I might lose my voice. I'd advise you to avoid this feeling. However, the mix feels like I have to support the sound intentionally with breath and energy in order to not switch into a pure head voice, but it also doesn't feel vocally exhausting. Like na versus no. Too loud. In full disclosure, pop singers use different levels of belting in songs. Some very chesty sounds and some more head voice oriented. However you choose to belt is ultimately up to you, but I definitely recommend finding a belting mix that feels energetic and repeatable, and above all, listen to your body.